It was almost midnight when Daniel's phone rang. The number was unknown, but something inside him told him to answer. "Hello," a trembling voice whispered, "Please, help me. They're coming." Then the line went dead. At first, he thought it was a prank. But something about the desperation in that voice, the way it seemed to be right on the edge of audibility as if the person speaking had been on the verge of tears, it haunted him. He tried to shake off the unease that had settled in his gut. It probably was just some kid trying to mess with him. Still, he couldn't help but wonder who would be dumb enough to play such a cruel joke. And more importantly, what did their coming mean? He couldn't get the girl's voice or the cryptic warning out of his head. Against his better judgment, he found himself walking toward the old abandoned building at the edge of town. The one everyone had long forgotten about. Streetlights flickered overhead, casting long, dancing shadows on the cracked pavement. The building loomed before him, a dark silhouette against the bruised sky. He hesitated, then pushed open the heavy metal door. It moaned like a tired giant, and Daniel felt a sudden urge to run. But something inside him, perhaps a morbid sense of curiosity, kept him rooted to the spot. As his eyes adjusted to the gloom, he began to make out shapes in the darkness. He moved forward, his heart pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. Then he heard it, a soft, broken sob echoing in the vast emptiness. The sound tore through the silence like a shard of glass, and he knew he had to find the source. The sound seemed to be coming from the floor above. He found a rickety staircase tucked away in a dark corner and began to climb. Each step creaked ominously, and as he reached the top, he noticed a door slightly ajar. The sobs were coming from behind it. Gathering his courage, he pushed the door open. Inside, the room was pitch black, but the stench of stale waste and despair was overwhelming. His eyes struggled to pierce the darkness. Then he saw a faint, ethereal glow in the far corner. As he moved closer, he realized it was coming from a chained-up girl. She was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees to her chest, her face buried in them. "Hello," he whispered. Hoping to startle her, she flinched, then slowly lifted her head. Her eyes, wide and terrified, were rimmed with dried tears. Her gaze darted to the heavy chains that bound her wrists together, then back to him, pleading for help. Without hesitation, Daniel knelt beside her and gently touched her shoulder. She recoiled slightly, then looked up at him, her eyes filled with a desperate hope. In a trembling voice, she asked, "Can you help me?" He nodded, his throat tight with emotion, and reached for the chains. With a grunt of effort, he managed to unhook the padlock. The chains fell to the floor with a dull thud, and the girl looked down at her hands as if seeing them for the first time. As she struggled to free herself from the shackles, he could see that they had wrapped themselves around her ankles, too. Her legs were bare, scratched and bruised, testament to her ordeal. Once freed, she looked up at him, her eyes shining with gratitude. Just then, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. Daniel felt a surge of panic. "They're coming back," the girl cried, her voice laced with terror. "I have to hide." She scrambled away, disappearing into the darkness as the footsteps drew nearer. Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. What had he gotten himself into? He made a dash for the door, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He could hear the men talking in low voices, their footsteps now close behind him. He burst out of the building and into the night, the cool night air a welcome contrast to the stifling atmosphere within. He didn't stop running until he could hear the city lights hum in the distance. The girl was gone by morning, vanished without a trace, leaving behind nothing but a haunting memory and a chilling mystery. Daniel still wonders if it was fate that made him answer that call on a dark and stormy night, or if he had just stepped into someone else's nightmare.